Go live. So just a second. And we're live.
Awesome. So Mean Girls came out 20 years ago. And I can't say, and for many of you that know me, this isn't going to surprise you that I was one of like the cool kids that watched it right away. I, in fact, probably didn't watch Mean Girls until years later, but it certainly is kind of a cult classic movie, timeless for that matter. You could talk to women in their 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, and even in their teens, and they likely have watched the movie Mean Girls. And I thought that it was kind of a fun twist and spin on things to talk about what if Regina George was on your team. Can you just imagine having Regina George as a team member on your at your med spa? And I know that there's countless reasons why she could probably be one of the worst hires ever or team members ever to be a part of your med spa. However, I would also say that Regina George does show some very promising attributes when it comes to what it takes to be successful in aesthetics. So I think you'll be surprised once we really break it down today. And I wanted to kind of give you this different perspective to potentially have a fun or different conversation at your next daily huddle with your team, or potentially one-on-one with a team member as well. All right. So I'd like to share with you 5 reasons why I think Regina George would be awesome to be a part of your med spa team. So first and foremost, number one, and this is actually a core value at Diamond Accelerator, is that I love Regina George's confidence, right? Confidence is absolutely key. And I'm sorry, but no one has ever done 2 holes cut out in a tank top better than Regina George, right? Like, she could have been embarrassed about that. She could have questioned everything and not left the locker room the rest of the day, but instead she owned it, right? And what I liked about that, or the example that I want to use, is that certainty is what really sells, right? And so when you have a med spa team member or provider that has a lot of confidence, that goes so far, not only with her other team members, right, but absolutely with your patients at the end of the day. So you want to not only look for confidence in your med spa team members and providers, but you really want that to be one of the core values that you take a lot of time to instill, to train on, to reward, and even potentially put people on performance improvement plans when they're not really showing confidence, right? Because at the end of the day, that's going to help your patients to be able to make decisions, commit to treatment plans. So confidence, confidence, confidence. Number 2, everyone, according to Regina George, is disqualified until you qualify them. So, she ran a tight ship with her crew. She only had 3 others that were allowed to sit with her at the lunch table, right? And that might be a little too good at disqualifying people, but even still, we can take away a little something from that, right? And that not everyone is qualified to buy from you. Not everyone is your ideal patient. Not everyone is qualified to be on your team, right? In fact, let's just go ahead and assume that there's a good number of people that you should disqualify as patients, that you should disqualify as potential team members. And that's okay. You shouldn't apologize for that, knowing exactly who it is that you want to serve, that you serve best, knowing exactly who it is that you want to surround yourself at work. right? Because life is too short. We want to surround ourselves and work with people on our team and patients that are on the same high vibrational energy that you are, right? That share the same core values, that share the same mission, that are after the same results that you are. So everyone is disqualified until you qualify them. Okay, number three is that appearance matters, but maybe not how you think entirely, right? So my girl Regina, she potentially could border on what some would say vain, right? But to her credit, proper appearance really gives the impression of professionalism, confidence, like that you give a shit, right? And it really can contribute to building trust and respect, right? With your team, with your patients. And so having a dress code, right? Showing what proper appearance can be. And you know, the smallest things, right? Like making sure that your scrubs are clean, that your scrubs aren't wrinkled, that they fit properly, that you're not swimming in them, or that they're not too tight, right? And that you're actually taking the time to do your hair or makeup, whether that's minimal or a full face, right? That you are taking care of yourself, because for God's sakes, people, we are in the beauty industry, right? We need to dress the part. So it always is kind of like a red flag a little bit when I go into a med spa and employees are a disheveled hot mess, right? They just top knot, they just put their hair in a clip, right? They don't even have like tinted sunscreen on. I'm not saying you got to like do full glam every single day, but at least, girl, put some tinted sunscreen and some chapstick on or something, right? And so we want to talk about with our team of like, listen, guys, we are in the beauty industry, right? Like, I don't want you just rolling out of bed and 5 minutes later showing up to work. That is not showing me or your patients that you are prepared and ready to hit the ground running and giving them 110% of you, right? So I think it's totally fine to talk about the importance of appearance and how you show up at work and in the room with your patient. Okay, number 4. Regina, she took her role as leader very seriously. Like, do you remember how when Katie started to lead the plastic, she just absolutely snapped. And while I don't recommend you taking it that far, I do really like that she cared, that she took her role as leader very seriously, right? So first and foremost, you have to have self accountability to lead yourself. And when you do that, oftentimes others are going to follow, right? So lead by example, hold yourself to the highest of standards, and others thereafter is going to follow. So if you are a leader, you need to take that very seriously, whether you're leading a team of 1 or 20, right? Whether you are, have a cat at home or a full village of children that you are leading, I want you to take that very seriously, right? And it's going to contribute to your success. And the final reason, number 5, of why I think Regina George would be an amazing team member at your med spa is her use of compliments, right? Now, can we all promise right now that we could do way better than being like, oh my God, I love your bracelet. Where did you get it? But compliments and positive feedback, which I talked about a few weeks ago, really are just way underused. They're way underrated, and how they can positively contribute to building your culture, to building your rapport, to building relationships on your team. So you want to make sure that your compliments and your feedback are very specific and genuine, right? That you make sure that your compliments help you to really get on the same side of the table with your team, with your patients, with your coworkers, right? And this is such a simple way for you to show that you care, right? For you to really build and earn that trust with them. So just as a reminder, a compliment hack or giving positive reinforcement or feedback is to take the compliment one step further. So, for example, instead of just saying, I think you're an amazing injector, right? I want you to add the reason I say that is. So, before you just said, I think you're an amazing director, try this. I think you're an amazing injector. And the reason that I say that is because you really listen to the desired look your patients are trying to achieve. And I can just see how pleased they are with their results afterwards, right? Do you see how that compliment, that feedback just takes it to a whole different level than just like, I think you're an amazing injector, right? When you get into like a description of why you feel or what you're seeing, it really goes a long way with that person. So another example, maybe with a patient this time, is like, you have beautiful skin, which I feel like sometimes could just be overused so much that if you don't add in this next part, that it may not land properly or land at all. So try this, right? You have beautiful skin. And the reason I say that is I see the confidence you have because your complexion is so smooth, so clear, so glowy. I just love what I'm seeing, right? Do you see how that could potentially make a patient feel so much more special to earn the trust, right? And the rapport between the two of you. So you want to take your compliments and your feedback to the next level. Go in with a reason why you're giving that confidence at the end of the day. Okay, so let's tie all of those things together, and you can do a fun exercise again with your team in the next daily huddle, and like talk about Regina George and her awesome sauce, right? And of course, there's some things that we want to stick away from and not have a part of our med spa culture, but there is a lot of good things that Regina George just exudes awesomeness that we could take away, that we would be so lucky to have on our med spa team of providers, right? And leadership. So just as a reminder, what some of those big takeaways are: confidence, confidence, confidence. I love a confident woman, right? And another thing is that it's okay. It's okay to qualify our patients, who's on our team and who's in our lives, right? I want you to raise your standards and expectations of yourself, of your team, of your patients, and that's okay. I don't want you to have this scarcity mindset that you can't qualify people in your life, in your business, with your patients, on your team, right? That's not going to surround yourself with the people that is going to get you to where you want to be. So it's totally okay to qualify people, right? The next one is appearance matters, right? Show me that you want to be here. I want you to drink the beauty and aesthetic industry Kool-Aid, right? Like, don't come in looking a hot mess and disheveled, right? We all have bad days, long nights, especially with our kids and whatnot, coming back from being sick or vacation, but that's a day, that's a moment, right? Let's get back to it and present ourselves in a professional manner, right? Like, let me just show you guys real quick. These are the lip glosses that I have next to me at all times, right? I have different colors, I have chapsticks, I have glosses, because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel professional. It makes me feel prepared. It gives me a little pep in my step, right? So figure out what that is. Whether that's, again, a moisturizer, tinted sunscreen, lip gloss, a hair tie. You see, I'm blinged out here. Like, I'm dressing the part. I'm looking for diamond girls that want to be on my team. I'm looking for women that want to sparkle on the outside and on the inside, right? And those are things that you talk about when it comes to appearance with your team, right? It's not just about like, I'm not saying be like, oh, you got to have the designer like sneaker and handbags and whatnot. I just want you to figure out what it is that makes you feel good, that makes you show up confident, prepared, energized to dive in to work, to, you know, just pouring into your patients, into your team. And that's what I mean by appearance matters, right? I want you to be generous with your positive feedback, with your compliments, but most importantly, they need to be sincere, guys. Years ago, I had a boss early on in my career that would give me compliments, and they were so fake, so ungenuine. Like I literally felt like he would give me a compliment and then he just checked the box of like, I did it. I got my compliment in for the day. And it was actually more damaging than if he just would have said nothing at all. So you need to make sure that you are sincere with your compliments and your feedback. All right. So I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you have a really fun, interesting conversation with your team, with yourself, right? And to just challenge your leadership style, challenge your team to really show up every single day, right? With confidence, with the right attitude of who you want to surround yourself with. And it's going to help you to level up the performance of your med spa, of your team, and the results that you give to your patients. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for any questions at this time. But if you found this helpful, I really encourage you to, you know, hand it off to another med spa owner that could benefit, or your practice manager, or your team, right? And have them watch this and then have a great conversation of it as well. And ask yourself, like, am I exuding confidence? Do I show up every day at work ready to go, sparkling, so my patients know how excited I am to see them, to help them, right? Do I look the part? Am I taking care of my skin, of myself? And am I just rolling in with dog hair all over my hoodie, right? And looking like a disheveled mess, right? So just think about that a little bit, because all of these things matter. It's the little things, guys, that is going to really level up your business and your team, because the aesthetic industry landscape is so competitive. And if we're not doing the little things, then you're going to stay down here as everyone else rises above you. And we don't want that to happen, right? So it's these little things at the end of the day that is going to make all the difference in the world. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me. Remember to get access to more free trainings that will help grow your med spa. Make sure that you visit our link tree in our social bio and join us live every single week, same time, same place, Wednesdays, 2:30 Central Time. Find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Bye.